high tech, low touch equals no money, and high touch, low tech equals big money. And now I say high tech, high touch, and meaning that touch. The best agents, the best mortgage people in the space have mastered touch and tech, and the ones that are just all tech are not as successful as the ones that have mastered touch and tech, because there's a lot of cool tech for everyone to use now. And I find, when you lean on it too much and you take the touch away, that's when either you're vulnerable to one of these big companies, like I heard you talking about on your, I don't know, that's your weekly podcast, which I always just love listening to. For me, it's just a full crack up. I mean, in a good way. I always listen to it. I think you were going on talking about Zillow, and
Love that.
That's how you get.
Love dumping into Zillow.
But that's how you get, taken over by the tech. If you let it take you over. And I tell agents all the time, Bill, I say, you can sit, if you're doing your job right, and someone or maybe a client or a referral source is sitting in their house, in their slippers, pounding Prosecco all night long, all over the internet, looking at every different type of, whatever they're in, Zillow, Redfin, it doesn't matter what they're in, and they're getting pounded with phone calls and emails from all of these agents that paid to be in there. They could still wake up in the morning and just call you and say, "Hey, Bill, it's Susie Q. Oh, hey, how are you? Hey, I have a house that I really want you to show me." Like that overcomes all of that tech if you're in their head the right way. And sometimes agents kind of look at me and they're like, "You're wrong." And I say, "Okay, we can agree to disagree, but I'm pretty sure I'm right." Because it doesn't, who wants a bazillion cold calls, in that tech? They'd rather have the touch. But then again, you need to use the tech with the touch. So sorry, that was a little quick talk, but.
No, and I think it's right on point. So let me break it down a little bit, because obviously we've worked together, and I know a lot of what your code words mean. One of the phrases that you taught me was red light ready. And you primarily coach mortgage agents. What it means to me as a realtor is I need to be able to get a contract signed anywhere I'm at, which could mean I'm in my car. Well, there's many technologies, right? There's AI to write stupid brochures, and there's a sly mail, fake text messages. That's not what you mean when you say red light ready and being high tech. What high tech specifically do mortgage agents or real estate agents need to master in order to be effective with their customers, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, first of all, people have been talking about, we used to call it a database forever ago. Okay. And now the hot, sexy word is CRM. There's probably an even sexier word. I'm probably aging myself even calling it a CRM, a customer relationship management system. Okay. The reality of it is Bill, I don't know about you, but I'm around some really good real estate agents all the time, and I'm around a lot of really good loan officers. And anyone that's really, really, really good at their job, the last place they ever want to be is inside a CRM. I already know they're not going to use it. In fact, the best ones I work with, best agents I work with, Bill, real estate agents, I don't even let them use it. They send a text to someone else that uses it, that then puts information in. But the one thing they can use is that thing that's in their hand all day long. And I just said this to a group of agents in Rhode Island last week. They were cracking up. I said, I bet you'd leave your 3-year-old at the mall before you'd leave that mall without your phone. So let's talk about that phone that's glued to your hand, and let's talk about what's in that phone. And whether you're using Droid technology or Apple technology, I think agents overwhelmingly use Apple, but it doesn't matter what technology you're using. Those contacts in your phone are your walking CRM that you're used to looking at all day long. And what I find when I meet new agents is when I look in their contacts, they're usually a baby dumpster fire, and they really can't use them effectively. And when I use the term red light ready, Bill, red light ready means you're sitting in a red light. You can actually do something productive in the minute it takes for that light to go from red to green. But it's not just agents, loan people, everyone, they're too disorganized. And I tell people all the time, Bill, people I work with one-on-one, if you ever say to me, I need my laptop, we're in a large fight. Like, I don't want to hear it, that you need your laptop to do something. Yes, I understand, Bill. There's certain things you do need your laptop to do. I get it. But don't tell me you need your laptop to get someone's email address or a phone number or something like that. That to me is career insanity. I don't know who's doing. I mean, I don't even get that. Like who would do that? And so red light ready, Bill, at 40,000 feet, and I go super deep on this and, some of my classes and things like that, is being prepared. You've heard me say this a million times. I can't see everyone. I can only see the one guy in you right now, Stan. Well, I could see Stan, but Stan went somewhere. And I tell people, stand up. Stan, you're already up. Stay up, Stan. Stay up, Stan. You're already up. Turn around. Look at your chair. If your chair looks like an imprint of your ass, you're failing, because you're not supposed to be sitting in your chair. You're supposed to be out doing stuff. Agents go out and do stuff. They don't sit in their chair and print money. It doesn't work like that. It's a people business. And so, we have these phones, we have these things. Bill has more than one probably, or they all go to one number. I don't know. He's always tricky about it. But we all have these things in our hands all day. And I bet, Bill, what do you think? Because you're way more technical than me. I've asked you for help a bazillion times. Are you using 3% of your phone? Maybe, maybe 2% of what this thing can do. And I just teach agents, hey, you got these contacts in there. You're using it all day long to make phone calls. Why are they not set up in a way that you can, in a minute, between red light and a green light, do something productive? Make one phone call, send one text. Maybe even you're sending an email. I don't know what you're doing, but something, productive. And Bill, I'll say this to your group. Everyone should write this down every single day. Whenever you're done, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it doesn't matter. What you should be saying to yourself is, what have I done today to deepen an existing relationship with a referral source or develop a new one? You notice how I didn't say sell a house or take a new listing. I did not say that. What have I done today to deepen an existing relationship with a referral source, a referral partner, or develop a new one, period? And I don't care if you took 3 new listings. For me, I just said this to an agent yesterday, Bill, who took 7 new listings this week. I asked her what she did yesterday. I said, fail. She started laughing at me. I said, it's a fail. That's a Joel fail. I don't care. I don't care if you have 7 new listings. Don't care. You didn't push referrals forward at all. And your job is not to list houses. Your job is to get referrals, which then create listings.
Well, hold on 1 second now, guys. I should have started with that. I went to where I wanted to go, and I left out step 1. Anybody who's ever seen Joel in person the first time, he has an amazing exercise where he asks you what your job is. And what's amazing is, and now I've come to assume this because I've seen you speak in person many times. I know the answer, and that's what I work on. But in the room, nobody ever gets the answer right who hasn't heard you already before.
That's right.
So those who are listening, most of you guys don't have your cameras on. Feel free to type in, what is your job as a real estate agent? Or what's your job as an attorney? Or what's your job if you're an account executive for a vendor in the probate space? What's your job? And if you're listening, watching this, and we get a couple of people watch this every week, stop for a second and write down, what is your job? Because here's the thing, it's wrong. Joel, I'll turn over to you. What is not their job and what is their job? I love
your job. Your job is to find people who know people who need you, become best friends with those people, and get them to refer the people that need you to you. Your job is to get referrals, but your real job is, Stan said relationship building, correct, is to create a set of new best friends who can refer you people that need you. So this covers, I don't care whether you're doing mortgages, real estate, title, it doesn't really matter. Who's ever listening right now, your job is to create referral partners. That is your job. That's your job all day. And the best agents that do this all day long have so much business, they don't know what to do with themselves. And, then I love when agents, Bill, they come to me and they're, well, Joel, you don't understand what we're doing all day. We're so busy. I'm like, all right, I dare you to pay me to watch you for one day, because I'll strip away 90% of the stuff you're doing, because you shouldn't even be doing it. Because it's not pushing your business forward. You just think you're supposed to. You just think you're supposed to do it. We can get someone else to do all this stuff, not the core activities. I'm not one of those guys, Bill. I know there's a lot of people in my space that are like, you should be working 2 hours a week. You should be on vacation 3 weeks out of every month. This total crap they blow at agents all day long. Like, they make them think you can do this job not working. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is you guys are working on the wrong stuff. Okay, meaning you're busy with the wrong stuff. Bill, we have a friend in common. I'll just name him, a California guy, Brian Minkow. One of the greatest things he ever said to me is Joel, the biggest trick to my business is I work 8 hours a day. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I work 8 hours. He goes, but Joel, I actually work 8 hours. Like, I don't work an hour and then go eat 10 donuts and go to lunch.
Right.
Like, I'm actually working for the full hour. So listen, your job is to build a set of new best friends that become your referral partners that can refer you people that need you. The thing about real estate is you guys have it all backwards. You guys get all rewarded on all these deals you do and your GCI and how much money you make, which is great. It's awesome. But what I'm concerned about is who referred you that business. Okay. You could sell a house to someone. If you're in California where Bill is, you could sell a shack and make a huge commission where Bill is for a shack. Okay. I'm sure there's people from all over the country on here right now, but you could literally make a lot of money on one transaction and never hear from that seller or buyer again for the rest of your career. Okay. But yet you go in your CRM and you label them as an A in your CRM because you sold them a house. That is not what I call an important person in my CRM. The only people I care about in my CRM are people that are actively referring me business. It's not the deals I did, unless it crosses. And the guy I sold the house to, I sold Bill a house and Bill loves me and Bill's actively referring me people. Okay, then Bill's in that category. But if I just sold Bill a house and I made a $50,000 commission, I don't label him as important to me based on how much I made. That's not how I'm going to do it, ever.
I think one of the byproducts, I don't know that you talk about this so much, but I know I experience it, is I coach real estate agents as well on my team who are so focused on doing the wrong activities that generate some business, right? Cold calling generates some business. The problem is the business it generates is so miserable and so time consuming because you're selling strangers all day long. Every deal is another stranger. Every deal you have to convince them you're not going to rip them off, versus referred business is so much easier. The process is just simpler. I think that's the hidden byproduct. When people say they work hard, they shouldn't be working that hard. That's probably a sign that they're working too hard and on the wrong things.
Yeah, I call it a cookie listing. Bill, one of the questions I ask groups of agents all the time is I say, raise your hand if you have an active listing right now and literally you would like to put a hit out on the seller. Like literally, you hate the seller at that level. It's the most miserable seller in the history of the world. And a bunch of hands will go up. And then I will say to them, leave your hand up if it was a cold lead or a relative. And all the hands stay up every single time. And I call it a cookie listing, Bill. And the way I explain it is how many of you all have gone in on a listing appointment or a listing presentation, whatever you want to call it, and you walk in the door and they look at you and they go, Bill, we've been waiting for you to come over. This is so exciting. Our good friend Susie Q said, you're awesome. They said, basically do what you say because you're going to get this done and they're going to make the most money and it's going to be seamless and whatever. Where do I have to sign? Want a cookie, Bill? And in 10 minutes, the listing is signed. You're eating homemade cookies. And on minute 11, you're walking around the house already staging and moving things around. Yeah, can we move this bookcase over there? This room will look a little bigger, whatever. Versus this listing where you're talking to the person, they go, yeah, Bill, can you come over at 1? Absolutely. Yeah, don't park in the driveway. I'm going to need to save that space for the 2 o'clock person. And you walk in the door and the house is worth, well, Bill, we'll use your area, 1.4. And you walk in the door and they eye lock you and go, yeah, we're thinking 1.9. Okay. And then literally you're sitting there for an hour of your life in probably the most heinous pain you would ever have, from a cold, and there's plenty of people that would say, oh, Joel, I don't mind talking to 100 people to get one deal, or to get 2 deals or whatever it is. And I'll say, you know what? Cool. You don't mono match with me. That's great, but it's going to be hard for me to help you. I want to talk to 10 people and do 8 deals. I don't want to talk to 100 people to have 3 people say maybe and 2 people say and 1 person say okay, and then that whole okay is literally the worst experience of everyone's life because all they do is literally give you a hard time the whole time, which is what you were just referring to. And Bill, when new agents have to do that stuff, but I mean, I have a whole plan for new agents where we don't even do that right away. We do make calls, but we're calling other people. But I just think, Bill, that real estate is a lot easier than people make it. They try to make it really hard by doing it the wrong way. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that teach in my space And when you teach, I learned this from very effective, good teachers a long time ago. When you're teaching huge groups of people stuff, you have to take it down to the lowest level and give them stuff that every person can do.
Right.
And it's why, Bill, for me, and Bill, you and I have had this conversation multiple times alone, where you have wanted me to expand and do things in a certain way, and I could not wrap my head around it because I felt like I was teaching people stuff they weren't even going to do. Right. And I would rather keep the group smaller with people that mono match with me, because my own satisfaction, I know they're going to go do it. You know, I know there's these agents all over the country that are killing it, that if you go talk to them, they'll be like, yeah, I'm just doing what Joel and I talked about and it's working, you know?
Well, and that's why to this day, you and I worked together very closely, you know, about 6 years ago when I launched this, and I was doing some coaching, and I just stopped doing it because I didn't like it, because I didn't have a big enough impact. I'm sorry, a big enough pool of people, and I didn't want to make money from people who weren't going to do what I told them to do. And to this day, I get a realtor calls me every 2 or 3 days. Bill, how do I get started in probate real estate? What do I do to build a niche? And I tell them a couple basic things. Step 0 is have your database put together. So that step 1 is you can learn something about probate and then share that with your customers, or you share that with your prospects, share that with your people. Like, everybody wants to learn. Everybody needs to learn about things they need to do. But if you don't have the database done, step 0, I call it, then you can't, and nobody wants to do it. Oh, well, can't I just buy the data? Can I just cold call? Well, you can. That's just a miserable life. Like, I don't know why you would want to do that, but go ahead. You know, people sell the data, I guess. It's just really one of those things.
It's because they're getting into business and for the wrong reason. They're
Yes.
looking at this business for the wrong reason. This is a people business. I mean, technology, you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe this will haunt me, but I don't see while we're alive that technology is going to completely replace what great agents do every day. Will it enhance it? 100%. Will it make great agents have the ability to sell more houses and touch more people? Absolutely. But that phone call, that, you know, that I just heard someone talking about this. I don't know what I was watching. I say it all the time. They said the same thing. You know, death of a family member, divorce, buying or selling a house, top 3 most stressful things in life. I mean, people want people. I mean, even Bill, there used to be a stat. I don't know what it looks like now. It was out of Seattle that, you know, the highest percentage of clients in the country that literally refused to speak to a human being was in the Seattle market. And it was like 4.8% because of all the tech workers. And they literally would only text and not even show up. Like, you'd have to send someone to their house to get them to sign stuff, like literally. Right. But even in that area, 95.5% of the people, you know, when they're surveyed, say, no, I want to talk to someone. No, I want to speak to a human being. Like, I want to see someone. There's too much going on here. You know, and I think that there's a lot of agents that don't really understand. I mean, Bill, I've been saying this for years. At the end of the day, if you don't need hot tea with lemon and you're a real estate agent, you have done something wrong. You have literally done something wrong. Unless you took the whole day off, that's fine. But if you're working and you don't need hot tea with lemon, at the end of the day, you have failed. You have not talked to enough people. There's something is wrong. You know, don't tell me this. Oh, I emailed 1,000 people and went to lunch. Right. I mean, that's just. I don't know about you. I don't know any agents. I mean, I do know some agents that spend $200,000 a month on leads, you know, but they still have agents that are making those calls. Okay. But I don't know any good agents that are that don't buy leads, that work, we'll call it by referral only, that don't need that hot water with lemon every night. I just don't.
Because you're talking to people all day long. I mean, I'm the same in that boat. The difference is people call me rather than me have to reach out, because I've built enough referrals. And I tell real estate agents, it's one thing to, when you start out, you want to cold call every day. Okay. Because you don't know that many people, but it's maybe, I'm not even big on that, but maybe. But if you've been in the business 10 years and you're still cold calling, you did something wrong, because all the people you talked to for 10 years, you should be talking to them. Like, call them back. Hey, we've been talking for 5 years. Have you bought any real estate? Have you bought any investment property? You think, moving out of the area? And so, there's people you could talk to all day long. We all have databases. We never finish through all of them.
Yeah, no. there is, whenever an agent says to me, "Oh, I'm bored, I don't have anything to do," I'm like, "No, you didn't just say that to me, because I'm about to give you 27 things to do. You have plenty of things to do." But I just think, Bill, I think the market is getting better for agents, because I think a lot of agents, Bill, I don't know if you have any good stats, but do we lose at least 35% of licensed agents over the past 18 months? At
No,
least,
actually, what's
right?
fascinating is 20% leave and another 20% come in, and the number's about the same as it was a year ago. It's the oddest thing. You would have Sales are down 30%, where our industry is in a depression. In that sales numbers, units are down 30 something percent. Sales values are up about 4%. So revenue's down about 25% in this industry, but the headcount is almost identical. It's
But
fascinating.
but the difference is, I guess, the head count is you're counting new people. These are brand spanking new people. The
Correct.
ink is wet on their license. And
Correct.
I'm watching experienced agents, Bill, and experienced loan people literally grow their business and take market share no matter what
Right.
market they're in, from LA or West LA, which is unique and funky and tough and whatever, to Pittsburgh, to Kansas City, to Providence, Rhode Island, to Orlando, Florida. I mean, every different, all over, the market. Bill, I think there's interesting things going on, in 2025. It doesn't really matter who you voted for. Both sides of the aisle have on their agenda credit card company interest. It's on there. I mean, if you've put $25,000 on a credit card, and you make a salary of 60 or 70 grand a year, you will never pay that off. Do the math. You will be dead before you pay that off. I mean, that is egregiously high interest. And I think there are things that are going to be going on. And I'm not just going to say with the new administration, forget about that, because it doesn't matter who you voted for, but with the new people in Congress and the Senate on that stuff, which is just economy based, which is the number one issue for all voters, number one issue, the cost of stuff. I think there's good things that are going to be happening. We're going to lead in energy. And when you do that, it costs less to drive the eggs somewhere, and the eggs cost less. And suddenly maybe your interest is capped at 12 or 13% instead of 30% on your Visa card, whatever it is. And people have a little bit more money. Now, do they use that to buy a house because they've always wanted to buy a house? I mean, I read a great article, Bill, about 4 months ago that said if the interest rates dropped a 0.5%, 5.2 million consumers would step off and say, I either want to buy a house or sell my house or do something. Okay.
Right.
Not to mention the 30 plus million millennials that have stated, just flat out, I want to buy something. I want to do something. That have said they want to do something. And we know there are other challenges. There's wages and all kinds of challenges. And we also know, everyone on this call, we all know this, even though the media won't talk about this, and I don't even know why, except for like Barbara Corcoran, no one will say anything, is that, doing the math on paying $500,000 today and having a 7% interest rate, and paying $550 in 6 months with 6.5, you're way better off paying 500 at 7%. It's very easy math. For some
Right.
reason, the consumer either can't do that math, they're not doing that math, or they actually think the market's going to crash. And Bill, for your audience here, one of the big subjects, one of the big things that I hear about all the time, okay, is math. And if you're an agent and you can't do math,
Right.
okay, you're going to have a problem. If you're an agent and you're not partnering with a loan professional the correct way, the best agents right now are getting people on the phone with their loan people at 100 miles an hour. You all cannot see credit. They can. The three big objections are: I can't move, I have 3%. I can't afford to move at 7%. And if I move, where will I go? I challenge anyone on here to give me the fourth one. Those are the big three. Those are the ones you hear all day long.
Right.
I've been hearing this, Bill, from brokers, not like just a regular real estate broker. I know in California it's a little different. For the broker of record, the guy or woman that owns the RE/MAX, Joel, I think we're losing a lot of deals because I think my agents are not prepared to overcome those objections fast enough.
Right.
And they're trying and they can't, and the people get off the phone. And I'm telling agents everywhere, you should have a deep relationship with a lender partner. You should be bouncing that person within 3 minutes to your lender partner. You should use this language. Everyone write this down. This is winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, I understand your objections. I get it. I work with a residential real estate, residential real estate finance expert. You notice how I didn't say the word loan officer or mortgage? Two scary words. I didn't say either one of those words. I would love you to talk to him or her and go through some of these things, because I want to make sure that, you know, you're telling me you'd like to move. If you could, I don't know enough to help you with it, but he or she definitely can. And, you know, this is not a secret. You all can't pull credit. Okay. Mortgage people can. All right. Mortgage people can see credit and see that someone has 50 grand on a Visa card at 26%. All right. People think they have 3.25% interest rate on their loan. They don't. If you have a bunch of consumer debt, that is not your interest rate on your consumer debt at all. That's wrong. It might be closer to 5.8 when you're all done. Okay. You're not paying 3.25. You're paying 5.8. Meanwhile, you're in a 2-bedroom house. You've had 2 more kids. You need a bigger house anyway. You think you can't move. Meanwhile, if you bought a house, I mean, you guys tell me, I mean, please, I don't care what market you're in. I mean, if you bought a house in 17 and refinanced it in 20, I mean, Bill, what have you doubled your equity? Probably. You could sell the house, pay off all your debt, put less down on the new house with a 7% mortgage, and your total monthly payment goes down like $1,000 a month. I mean, it's just, but agents, it's not that you can't do this math. You can't look at someone's credit report. You can't even see it. Right. And to be honest, you know, and Bill, as someone that's, Bill, you've worn 2 hats. You totally get this. The best thing you could ever do as an agent is stay in your lane. You don't want to be in that other lane. Let someone else be in that lane. You stay in the downspouts, gutters, and, you know, backyard lane. Stay the lane you're supposed to be in. Let your mortgage partner stay in that lane. Don't cross. And that way you guys can always get something done. Bill, those are big subjects. I talk about math all the time. I've been talking about math forever. But, man, if you can't do math, you're going to have a real hard time as a professional real estate agent going forward. I think 2025 is going to be great. Bill, personally, I think 2026 will be a banner, knock the cover off the ball year. I think the rates are going to play ball with us. Will be low 6s, maybe even high 5s in 2026, and the market will explode. I think the rates dropped 0.5% right now. They'll explode. It will completely explode as long as there's stuff for people to buy.
You know, I think there's a lot there to unpack. Let me go back and pull a nugget out on how everybody on this call can get some more business. Before I do that, a little bit of housekeeping. This Probate Weekly, it's free. Sign up at probateweekly.com. Just put your email address. If you want text reminders, put your phone number in. You can register for it. If you scroll down, you'll see we have all the audio formats linked there, as well as our past episodes on YouTube. Welcome to check all that out. We also continue the conversation on Facebook. Our Facebook group is Probate Weekly. We have over 4,000 members. Feel free to post your content on probate and trust related onto Probate Weekly to get more views, likes, interactions, and all that stuff. Reen does a great job. Kevin as well does a good job. And his podcast is where we can help you get more views, likes. Our guest today is Joel Epstein, bigjoel.com. He coaches mortgage agents across the country. He coaches real estate agents, some of the top names. I can't name them because I'm not authorized to let the names out, but names that you would recognize. He coaches real estate agents and big teams. And so he's in the business all the time. Joel, I don't know that you would know this necessarily, but in probate real estate, the opportunities that came to me was, for years I was a residential agent. I did mortgages, residential sales. And the nature of probates was there'd be an estate where the decedent also owned office building, industrial building, rental, multi-unit properties. And in the past, I'd say, well, I'm a residential agent. I'll bring somebody else in on that. And what I learned was, well, I know the probate so well. The commercial guy knows nothing about probate. So much of that transaction is about the relationship. And that once the attorney had trust in me to make that referral, all of a sudden, here it is 2-3 years later now, half my business is non-residential. Half my business is commercial, industrial, multifamily land. I know I followed your precepts. So let's talk a little bit about how do you create trust in relationships so you can go deeper, so that rather than just be the residential guy, you're the person that call when they have a problem. In my case, the problem I want them to call me about is probate or trust-related litigation. How do I get them to call me about the problem rather than somebody else?
So, you know, first of all, you know that I like agents to not call themselves agents. Okay. I like them to call themselves, now, Bill, I normally say residential real estate expert, but in the case of what we're talking about, you and I right now, I would say multi-resident, multi real estate expert. I'd have to think it through, Bill, to cover, to cover anything real estate related. But it's branding yourself as an expert in all things related to any type of real estate. It's being okay with taking a phone call and being on a call for a half hour where you don't sell anyone anything, where you're creating such value that people say, hey, you should really call Bill for that. Well, why am I going to call Bill about that? What is Bill? No. You're going to call Bill because Bill makes it his business. He probably spends 4 hours a day being an expert on this stuff. And Bill's not, oh, it isn't Bill an agent? Isn't he going to be a pain and like try to get business from me and whatever? And he said, no, that's not what Bill's about. Yeah. Bill would love to. If you have a building and you want to list it, he'd love to list it. But let me know if that's how the conversation goes. But I don't think he's going to go that way. I think you're going to say, hey, I was referred by so-and-so, and Bill's going to say, how can I help you? And he's going to answer all your questions. And that's going to be that. And so it's how your people, Bill, you've heard me do this before. I tell agents all the time.
Yes.
Leave where I am right now. Call your best friend and ask how they refer you, and make sure you have an airline barf bag on you, because you're going to want to throw up when you hear how bad they are at it. Yes. Okay. Or how, or what they say. So it all really starts with people even really knowing what you want and really what you do. And the best agents are experts, period. Bill, I said a little bit ago, when agents say I'm bored, I don't have anything to do. I'm like, go buy a tank of gas and go drive. Well, what do you mean drive? Drive! Know the neighborhoods, know everywhere. That's your job. You're a real estate agent. Now, listen, if you have something 400 miles away, I get it. You're not going to know that market. But any place you can drive to, you should know. You should be an expert. You should know that there are Center Hall Colonials in this market, and there are these kind of houses over here, and there are these kind of houses over there. You should know that stuff, Bill. When it comes to what you're talking about, if you want to play in that space, know all the areas, know the industrial areas, know where there's industrial space. Know, obviously, it's a little easier to know where the big office buildings are, but know where the lower rise office buildings are. I mean, know the market, understand the market. It's your job is not to sit in your chair all day. That's why I don't know where Stan went, but I asked Stan to he stood up and looked at his chair. You're not supposed to be sitting in your chair all day. Even if you're in your car driving somewhere to get out. I mean, you did not fail for the day if you went and looked at stuff. Bill, there's a if they go to my site, this is Ernie Carswell said this, and it was awesome. I have all these podcast interviews with agents and loan people, and there's one with Ernie Carswell, Bill, who's in LA. Okay, I know you know the name. And he talks about what he has new agents do, and you will love this, Bill. You should go and look at it. It's right up your alley. He says, pick 10 properties and study them like you were going to take a test on them. And so it doesn't matter who you're talking to. You pick one of the properties you're an expert on and start talking about it. You know what I mean? Other people's listings, it doesn't really matter. And they're like, wow, this person really knows. So in your case, Bill, if you have someone that's spreading out into multifamily or small commercial or light industrial or whatever, and they're active properties listed, I would tell your people, be an expert on one of those properties. So you could sit and start talking about some light industrial space somewhere where they're like, oh, wait, that's not where I wanted to look, or that's not where I want. But they're like, wow, this guy knows about these properties. I just thought it was really genius. And it's right along the lines of what you're saying right now.
Well, I tell agents all the time that you should subscribe in your MLS to keyword probate, so you see all the listings that come up that are probate, see your competition's doing, what wording they're using, the good and the bad, what kind of properties they're listing, where are they listing them, what pricing, and then you could look at that property. You also can open their probate case if it's online or available publicly.
It, right?
You see the case, who was the attorney, who's a probate referee, who's the advance company. That's all I did. I didn't go to learn the properties of the expert. I started to learn the cases as the expert. You use a phrase that I remember I was working with you on your coaching program, and you used the phrase with real estate agents, they should be the experts on everything from the sidewalk to the back fence.
Right.
And it hurt to hear this, right? It hurt to think, somebody's going to call me about their tree falling. I'm an expert in real estate, and I know, why do I care about the tree falling? And I tell this story. I don't know if I told you this one, Joel. I think I have. So I call my database. I started with the A's. I got to D. I remember who it was. It was an attorney. He wasn't a probate attorney. As I'm talking to him, I say, hey, by the way, I've been learning about probate and avoiding probate. If you know anybody who has problems in those areas, feel free to pass them on. He said, well, this isn't probate. There you go. But she has a problem. The problem was there was a question with the lot line. She and her neighbor had a fight over the fence. There was some damage, the city, blah, blah, blah. Can you help her out? And it was kind of like the tree falling. Like, ugh,
Right.
I don't know
Right.
about lot lines. I mean, I do, but I called her on the phone. I talked to a nice older lady, widowed, 50-year marriage, husband passes, has a 6-unit apartment building. She says to me, can you come by and take a look at it? Like, ugh, it's like the tree. I don't care about the lot line. I'm going to drive to East LA. And I go there and I walk with her the property, spend about 45 minutes with a sweet old woman who's a widow now. At the end of walking around the house, and she showed me everything, I listened to everything. She just said to me, you know what, rather than fix it, can you just sell the property for me? I'm like, yeah, that was my listing presentation. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And the stories end there because I did a good job. She netted about $500,000 cash. I picked up the check at the escrow office and took it to her house on a Friday afternoon in East LA with crappy traffic here in LA because I knew it'd make her happy. And she started crying and she said to me, I've always wanted to move to Arizona to be with my sister. Can you sell this? Which was her residence. And I said, yeah, sure. Why not? So I sold 2 properties and my entire listing presentation was yes, because why? So talk a little bit about from the sidewalk to the back tree. What does that mean to a real estate agent?
So, since we've been on this call, Bill, every single agent, I'll make an assumption that everyone on here right now is a licensed agent, even though they might not be, but I'll just make that assumption that most of your audience is licensed real estate agents. Since we've been on this call, everyone has lost money. And the reason you've lost money is there was a business opportunity that you could have had that you didn't have because your people that refer you didn't even know you wanted it or could do it. The easiest example, Bill, is let's use LA for a second. Let's make it easy for a minute. Okay. You're a licensed real estate agent, broker, whatever it's called in California. You live in LA. Okay. There's only so far you can go in LA to even take a listing because of traffic or whatever. And your cousin's next door neighbor that you've met every time the day after Thanksgiving when you're over at your cousin's house and everyone's drinking, their son is going to go to Berkeley for law school, and they want to buy him a condo there. Okay. Now they think they know that you're a real estate agent, and they think they know that you're a real estate agent in LA, and they don't call you. Well, shouldn't they have called you so you could call an agent up there, make the referral and get a referral fee? Well, yeah, but they didn't even think of it that way because they just thought, oh, Bill's an agent in LA. He helps people buy and sell houses in LA. I mean, what would Bill have to do with Berkeley? The consumers, no one thinks that way at all.
Right.
Okay. So I would say agents leave more money in referral fees on the table every minute of every day than it's ungodly, the amount of money that they leave on the table. But the reality of it is you need to position yourself as a real estate expert. And the best way to tell the story, Bill, is that, your people know what you do, and you get an inbound phone call, ring, ring, ring. And you say, hey, this is Joel, and I'm Joel, the real estate agent. This is Joel with Remax, Joel with EXP. And someone says, hey, my name's Bill Gross, and Susie Q told me to call you. And I say, okay, how are you? And I'm getting a little excited because I know Bill, and maybe this is going to be a referral, and this is cool. And I'm doing the referral dance. And they say, you're a real estate agent, right? And I say, well, I'm a residential real estate expert. Anything having to do with a house, I'm an expert in, from the front walk to the back fence, that's me. What do you have going on? They're like, oh, we need to have a tree removed from our yard. And I say, okay. And they say, but you're not a landscaper, right? I say, absolutely not. But I know plenty of really good landscapers. Can I ask you a question? They say, sure. Where do you live? Okay. Ooh, there's a good one, right? Well, I live at 123 Main Street, wherever that is. Okay. Now, of course, because you're a good real estate agent, you know where that is. And you say, oh, is it one of those Center Hall Colonials? What is that over there? Oh, boy. Oh, exciting. You chat for a minute. I mean, literally a minute, no longer than a minute. You say, would you like me to have someone call you, or do you want me to give you some names? How would you like to do this? They tell you. And then right after you say this, Bill, and we can get off this call after this because everyone should write this down and be done with it. You say, anytime I make a referral like this, I love to drop by and make sure that they did a good job. Would that be okay? Of course, Joel, no problem. Okay. So the job is done. Now you're standing in their yard, staring at a tree stump. Okay. You want to get a listing. Where do you need to be? The kitchen table, right? You are now at their house. Okay. When they list their house, if you don't list it, Bill, you know how I am, so I don't care. You suck. Okay. If you were just in their yard, all right, with them looking at a stump, okay, and with them so happy that you referred them. I don't care if they list the house in a year or 10 years. We all know real estate's a long game. If you don't list that house, you suck. Because
Right.
all you have to say once they're connected to you there is, hey, are you good with me periodically keeping in touch with you? You know, I have some
Right.
cool things that I send out. And they go, of course. Yeah, no problem.
Right.
Okay. Let that sink in. The person standing in the yard is the one that gets the listing. All right. What an easy way to get in the yard. If you never got the call, you're not in the yard.
It's so particularly appropriate for probate, where often the person calling you isn't at the house. That they didn't live there, the decedent lived there. They live often out of state or out of the area, and so they really even more appreciate you being able to get by. And so when they'll say something like, "Well, I'm looking for somebody to help clean out," same thing. Well, do you mind if I go over and just kind of check on them, make sure it gets done right? You take a picture, you're there with them, with the cleanup crew or whatever. You're in the property. Nobody else is in the property but you. Nobody else has pictures but you. Nobody else can show the property but you. You have such a head start. Unless you blow it, you're the obvious choice to list the property. So, okay, so that's the sidewalk to the backyard, which is basically we want to be the solution for all things. In my case, probate. People ask me, literally yesterday, well, do you want to do that work? Well, I don't do it, but I know somebody who does. I want people to call me if they have a problem. I want my customers to call me about any problem they have in real estate. I want them all to call me all the time.
Yeah. And Bill, it's amazing how I'll ask the question, who wants that call? And hands will go up, and I'll say, who doesn't want that call? And hands will go up, and I'll pick on someone if I'm in a room, and I'll say, why don't you want that call? Oh, I'm way too busy for that call. I can't take that call. And then I'll say, and then of course, it depends on how sassy I want to be. How many houses did you sell last year? That's ultra sassy in a group.
Right,
I don't want to get
right,
crazy because normally they're going
right.
to answer 4, and I'm going to be like, yeah, you got time for that call. But if it's really an agent that's selling 100 houses a year, I'm going to go, okay, you need someone to take a look at what you're doing all day because you really want that call. You need to delegate a bunch of other stuff that you're busy with because you
Right.
do want that call.
And I want sometimes people say, well, customers get into probates with bad attorneys. It's a problem. No, I want that because either A, I can help the attorney be better with their customer, or B, I can help the customer navigate around the attorney or find a new one. My job is to help somebody with a problem. And I'm open helping both. That's the home run is when you help both rather than just one or the other. So home run there. Let's talk a little bit about, because it's a time of the year that we do a little more networking, whether it be holiday parties, office parties, also, maybe taking people out, people more open to going out to lunch, coffee. Attorneys by their nature, a lot of people in this call are trying to build business with attorneys, by their nature are more likely to go out for lunch than any other group. In my experience, that's kind of the normal attorney business is you call them to go out to lunch. They generally say yes, or in most professions, they'll say no. Can you give us just kind of a couple common mistakes people make on those kinds of meetings and maybe one or two tips that can help people be more productive?
So number one, I wouldn't even call it. Now, Bill, do you know this person or did you cold call them?
No, and some of like maybe I'm doing a probate where I know the seller, and they happen to bring in the attorney they picked is so and so, and I'm talking to the guy on the phone about a couple of things. I might say, hey, by the way,
Okay.
I'd
All
like to
right.
get to know you a little better. We're gonna be working together for the next year or so. Would you mind if I could take out to lunch one day next week? And
I would. The first thing I would say is if you go to lunch, dinner, breakfast, first of all, breakfast is best always with all professionals, but if they'll go to lunch, that's fine. No business spoken literally the whole time if you can do it.
no,
0.
that's brutal. Now I've been with you coaching people who pay you a lot of money every month, and they're like crying on the phone. It makes sense. So describe, why is that so important?
Okay. So here's the thing. And this is deep. This is the Dr. Joel stuff. Okay. If you're all business all the time, then if someone doesn't want to do business, they don't ever need to talk to you. Let that just sink in. If they think you're all business all the time, then if they don't have any business, why would they take your call? And this is a very hard concept, Bill. 3% of all salespeople understand this and live this concept. 3%. That's it. The other 97% literally cannot. They start to go like this. They literally start shaking because they have to ask for the business because they heard some dummy say, well, if you don't ask for the business, you're not going to get it. I do not profess that. I don't believe it. I think it's crap. I'll argue with anyone, not on this call right now. Anyone wants to call me after, I'll argue with you all day. Okay. They should know who you are and what you're doing. Okay. What's more important is that you're building a relationship with the person and you're really getting to know them. So they will take your calls and you can talk to them and they will take your call if they don't have business. Okay. If people think you're all business, then if they don't have any business, they just send your call to voicemail. Why? Oh, Bill Gross is calling. I got nothing for him. Why am I picking him up? Okay. Instead of, oh, Bill Gross is calling. I can't wait to find out, about his daughter's new job because you guys had a whole conversation about the other person's daughter's job. And then your daughter came up and then that came up and whatever. It's a very different thing. Now, Bill, This is very hard for salespeople. Okay. Salespeople are hardwired. You saw your reaction. Play it back and watch your reaction. You're like, oh, you went like this. You actually went, ah, you know what I mean? Because it's very hard for people to sit and actually connect and not attack. Okay. But the best people that do this stuff, I used to argue with my old boss forever ago, Bill, who's getting put in the Mortgage Hall of Fame this Friday, Pat. Okay, wow. Casey, it's really cool. And we used to argue, Joel, you could train anyone to sell it. I'm like, no, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. And I was the no, you can't guy. I'm like, you can't sell anything to anyone. They buy when they're ready. Okay. You can't, if you shove it down their throat, it doesn't really matter. Those are always the worst transactions there are. They buy when they're ready. Oh, I need to do something. I got to call Bill. Not I'm going to do it because Bill called me. Okay. Those almost always go wrong. All right. So you need to be in front of them when they're ready to do something. Okay. But lunches are for connecting. When you walk to your car and they walk to their car, the only thing they should be saying is, wow, I like that guy, Bill Gross. He's a cool guy. It sounds like blah, 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 whatever about him they learned. Okay. They shouldn't be walking away going, oh yeah, Bill seems like the best probate agent there ever is. Okay. Well, then the only reason they want to talk to Bill is if they have probate business for Bill. Right. The bottom line is wait a minute. We don't just want business for Bill from that attorney. We want that attorney telling other attorneys to call Bill, right?
Right.
We don't just want what that attorney has. We want that attorney telling 10 other attorneys, oh, you got to call Bill. So, agents are always focused on deals. Did I get a referral? Did I get a deal from that guy? I'm like, no. Stop. Who did he tell to call you? And they go, what? And I go, But it's the way everyone's coached and trained, Bill. You've been through it all. You've seen everything. You've seen Sweat Hogs with Mike Ferry. I mean, that's aging both of us. Okay. 35, 38 years ago, whatever it is, you've seen it all. It's really, you can do business that way, but that is the hard way. So if you're going to be in front of people, your main goal is to deepen the relationship when you're there. Okay. I'll give you one simple thing. You're talking to someone on the phone. Okay. You're talking to someone on the phone. You're talking, and you hear a dog bark. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care if you're about to get a $10 million listing for a multifamily apartment building. You stop in your tracks. Is that a dog? Yeah. What kind of dog you got? A doodle. Really? How old? 3 years. What's the dog's name? Bialy. Oh, that's a funny name. Oh, does the dog bark all the time? No. And then right back to the $10 million listing. The next time you talk to that person, if it's quiet for more than a minute on the phone,
where's
you
Bialy?
Literally say, where's Bialy?
Yeah.
And they go, what? They're thinking to themselves, what is going on here? I'm on the phone with this business guy that I do business with. He's asking me where my dog is. The only people that ask where the dog is are his cousin, his mom, his kids, his spouse. Those are the only people asking those questions. Okay, so where does that put you? That puts you in the inner circle immediately. All right. And by the way, this is not some hokey, crazy thing. You heard what I said. I want to know about the dog. I like dogs. I want to know. I'll talk about his dog for 10 minutes and then go back to the $10 million listing. I could care less. One of the greatest things you could ever do in one of those lunches, Bill, greatest things you can ever do is someone sits down, Bill, you and I sit down and I'm the attorney and you're Bill. Okay. And we're sitting down at, I don't know, we're getting sausages. How about that? And we're sitting down and we sit down and go, Bill, I say, Bill, what a timely lunch. This is so awesome. I literally just got off the phone with someone. Can you handle these 3 things for me? I've got this person that has this, this, and this. I need all this stuff listed. I need you to call over here. Can you do this? I got this client for this. And you look them in the eye and you simply say, Bill, we should almost end with this because it's beautiful. You say, wow, that's great. I really appreciate that. Where did you guys go on vacation for Thanksgiving? Literally, you don't even mention the business. Then you wait all the way to the end when you're getting up and say, oh, I totally forgot. Do you want to give me that guy's phone number and I'll take care of it? Now, those of you on this call that can do that will be very successful. It is one of the hardest things for hardened criminal salespeople. I'm talking mainline cons, people that are in jail for murder, okay? Literally, to be able to do is literally say, this guy is about to give me $20 million worth of listings, and I blew it off to talk about his vacation for an hour and then came back at the end and got the info.
Yeah.
Those of you that know what I'm talking about are smiling right now. I can't see you. Those of you that aren't, I really want you to listen to me and take it in, because this is what the best people do, because that person walks away from that lunch. Bill walks away from that lunch, or I walk away and I'm like, I like that guy. That guy's awesome. You know, that's that is literally what my thought is. Not that guy's going to do the most bang up job ever. I'm already assuming you're great at your job. That's an assumption. That's already assumed.
Right.
But I'm like, man, I love that guy. That guy's great.
Right.
That guy went to the same place in Mexico that I go for blah, 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 whatever. Right. Oh, his daughter's same age as my daughter. He's got a grandchild. Whatever. Okay. That's where it's at. That's the goo, Bill. That's the goo. And that's what is very hard to teach people. I have to teach it in trench warfare. That's why I'm I work with such a tiny percentage of people. It's why I, get paid the way I get paid or whatever, because it's a knife fight to teach people how to do that. You can't, watch some video and figure that out. That is a lot of internal fortitude to be able to do that.
But the people you work with make a ton of money, which I would translate create a lot of value for the customers, which means they get
100%.
compensated, working very reasonable hours and primarily doing things they like to do. You have salespeople who enjoy. Now, I don't enjoy playing golf, for example. To me, that would be a living hell, going on a golf course for 6 hours. But there are people who love playing golf, and their job is they go out and play golf every day with somebody different, or a couple people who are different. And
Bill, there are people that shoot guns every day.
I take people to the range. That's what I do.
That play pickleball. They do whatever they're doing with their clients, whatever it is. Their friends, their partners, their referral. Right. You're 100% correct. But this is people that understand their job is to connect. Their job is to make a new best friend. And Bill, I'll leave you with this because I know we're looking at the time right now. But what are the 2 best sales techniques? Everyone get a pen. Everyone always gets this wrong. Bill's not allowed to answer because he already knows. Guilt and sympathy. And they are both attached to emotions. Emotions are attached to a relationship. If people have no feelings towards you, they can't feel guilt or sympathy. They can't say, oh man, I feel really bad. Bill should have had that business. Right. I can't believe this person has that. Bill should have had that. I love Bill.
Right. Right.
Big concept for people to understand. Guilt and sympathy. That's it.
Well, look, I think that we've covered a lot. Your system is I think holistic, and that it all kind of fits together and needs to be kind of consumed and adjusted to over time. And so definitely worth watching. Go to bigjoel.com is his website. He has podcast, he has interviews he's done there, a lot of top real estate agents, a lot of top mortgage people. Any speaking engagements scheduled here out on the West Coast in particular?
I'm in San Diego first week, and I think the last week of January. I think I'm in LA, but it's all private client right now. There might be one agent thing.
Big teams that hire him as a coach, and so you guys got a chance to look behind this curtain a little bit to see it.
I'll tell you this, Bill. I've been doing Agent Crush I don't love doing it because a lot of the agents don't show up on time and make me crazy. But if you have a group, of your crew that are Bill Gross people, we can put something together. You can discount it. You can be on those calls with everyone, and we can go deep on everything we talked about today. We do it in 12 weeks. It's a 3-month class, and we go deep, 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 and I would be glad to do that. I don't know if that page is up on my site right now. It might be disabled because I didn't want to do it anymore. But but I always have agents asking for it. It's just called Agent Crush.
Right.
And we could certainly do something for your fans if you want. You just let me know.
Well, if you guys actually let me know, reach out to me and we'll maybe put a group together. But I want to say that we talked about in under an hour material. His Crush program every week is a different one of these topics expanded in detail. There's a lot to uncover. Definitely worth checking out his YouTube channel, his podcast. Joel, obviously a longtime personal friend. Thank you. Colleague, thank you. Success coach of mine, mentor of mine. Thank you for being on today and helping us learn how not just to do more business, but I think to do it in a way that we'll enjoy more and will be better for us in the long run. So thank you so much.
All about hourly rate, Bill. It's all about your hourly rate. That's exactly right. And are you having fun? Thank you, everyone. Have a good holiday. Have a good holiday.
And for Rushy, this is probateweekly.com. We do this every single Thursday at 9 a.m. live. We live stream it onto YouTube as well. And then we record it, put it on YouTube, LinkedIn, all the various channels if you're interested. I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media or billgrossprobate.com. Look forward to seeing you. Have great holidays. We'll talk soon. Bye.